Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome to the 37th Championship review of the season. I'm sure there's been more than that. I'm sure we've broken down some of the 3 game weeks into two-parters, but you take my point. Game week 37 is done in the Championship. We have 9 games to go, well and truly into the business end now. Things are really starting to shape out in the Championship. So come and join if you are in the chat. Do say hello, and we will go through this past game week's action. We just have a quick look at the table before we start. We have new leaders. Leeds top on 71, West Brom second on 70, then a 6-point gap down to Fulham in third place, and then a 4-point gap down to Brentford. So really big gaps now. Only one challenger really for that top two. I've used the word procession. It's looking that way. Forest tied with 60 with Brentford, and then Preston 4 points further back there. Real slowing up from everyone other than Leeds and West Brom up the top there. Down at the bottom, Middlesbrough, 6th bottom after a big win at Charlton, which I was at, so I can tell you all about that. Wigan tied on 41, Hull also on 41. So Hull, I said a few weeks ago, they'll be fine, are now right up to their necks in it. Charlton into the bottom 3, they're 3rd bottom. Luton 2nd bottom, and Barnsley propping everything up. Looks like maybe we can say the same thing about the top 2 as we can the bottom 2. Stranger things have happened, but looking at those gaps, could be anyone up to Stoke still. We're still talking about Stoke and Huddersfield, those 2 parachute teams. Let's go through the weekend's action, and we start at the top, and for the first time in a long while, we can lead off with Leeds United, because they've gone back to the top of the league. They won, West Brom drew, and they are 1 point ahead. Leeds 2, Huddersfield 0. Ayling with a beautiful volley with the opener, and then Pat Bamford from 1 yard, as he's been quite lethal from, with the second. 5 wins on the trot for Leeds. I think that's 5 clean sheets on the trot as well. They are turning it on, looking really good now. And you start to look at these numbers, they're now won 2 more than everybody else, up to 21 victories. I assume, yes, their defence is still ahead of Brentford's in respects of the best defence as well. Meslier going in has done nothing. He's got 2 clean sheets as well, so that's not made any difference. Leeds looking really strong. They've come at the right time. We spoke about Norwich in an 8-game win streak, Villa and a 10-game win streak last year. Year before that, Cardiff with an 8-game win streak. Leeds at the absolute vital time have come up with this 5-game win streak, which could extend out even further. When am I coming down? Millwall again. Yeah, soon. I'm sure. I'm never far away from Millwall, am I? So, Liam says, going to be seeing you again next season. Yeah, I look forward to it, Liam. Be good to have you back. Luke Ayling's homage to Ben with the goal celebration says, yeah, I've got a lot of Luke Ayling stuff this week, but Luke Ayling flying the flag for men with long hair. It really looks good for Leeds now. A few people have mentioned it. I was on All Leeds TV last night, just trying to explain to these nervous Leeds fans, just look at the numbers, just look at the maths, and look at how unlikely it is that Leeds or West Brom really are going to be overtaken. There's only one team now that can do it. I mean, Brentford are too far back. I suppose Brentford do have West Brom, so but you're looking at just a real weird turnaround. I just cannot see it happening now. I think Leeds and West Brom 14, 13 more points from these last 9 games should be absolutely fine. And they're not even amazing totals that Leeds and West Brom have posted. It's all down to the chase impact just disappearing without a trace. Look, Fulham 2 wins in the last 6, Brentford 1 win in 6, Forest 1 win in 6, Preston 2 wins in 6, Bristol City 1 win in 6, Millwall 2 wins in 6, and then I'm going way down. No one has put the chase in, and all Leeds and West Brom have had to do is just keep churning out, not even at a rate of 2 points per game. So we're looking at 83 to 86 points, I think, once we're in that range. Leeds and West Brom are up. Well done, Leeds, back to the top of the league. Let's talk about West Brom, because off they went to Swansea for a 0-0 draw, and a little slowdown from West Brom, 1 point from the last 2. Obviously, they'd been absolutely brilliant leading up to that and matched Leeds, but just dropped off there and dropped into second spot. West Brom, we'll have a look at the fixtures in the preview. I don't know who they've got. I'm at West Brom versus Brentford, or Brentford versus West Brom rather, next Tuesday. But West Brom look nice and solid, and the thing about them now is, with what Bilic did in January, he's just given himself enough options there. Animation says, will Krasicki and Robinson play with them next season in the Prem? I don't think they've even thought that far ahead. They've Warnocked it, haven't they? They've put a nice load of options up top to get you over the line, to get those match winners. And when Robinson does it, or Krasicki, or I don't know how far Diangana is off, Pereira, etc. There's a lot of kind of match winner, goal scorer type players there. So West Brom dropped into second. Still only 5 defeats all season. I wouldn't be too worried, but when it starts to go to 3 and 4 games, if they draw the next one, for example, and then go into Brentford with only 2 points in 3, then you start to look at it, especially if Fulham can put a win on the board. But it's tricky, and we know Fulham's next 2 games, Brentford at home, Leeds away. It looks like the one team that can challenge these top 2 has got the most difficult running. So there we go. Let's speak about Fulham, because they choked a little bit in the early game, didn't they? It was 1-1. Bristol City won, and Fulham won. Wells with the opener on 70. Kearney gets the equaliser. And I tweeted out when Wells scored, it was like, oh, Fulham are dropping points today. Should we just promote Leeds and West Brom now? Because just every result, and we'll talk about Forest Millwall in a minute, seems to be going for that top 2. And Fulham, they're going to have to win, I don't know, 4 or 5 games straight, which, if they did, would put them on 79 with, let's say, 5 games straight, 79 with 4 to go, and really hope that Leeds and West Brom slow down. Obviously, if Fulham do win 5 games straight, that would mean that they beat Leeds next Wednesday, which there's a hell of a lot riding on. That could be the decisive game. If Fulham do not win that game, then out they go. Wolf Gratz says, the fish are very lively tonight. Hello to the fish up there. Anyone asking about the goldfish? They've gone downstairs to the other tank. We've got some nice little guppies in there, so a little bit more lively in there. Brentford back up into 4th. They ended their bad run, and they increased Sheffield Wednesday's dreadful run. Brentford 5-0. De Silva, Marcondes and Buemo. De Silva again, and Fosu gets his first goal after being signed from Oxford. Be interested in Animation's thoughts on this. I didn't think we'd see much of the 2 Oxford lads, Baptiste and Fosu, but he's gone in. CLC says, can we skip this one, please? Obviously a long-suffering Wednesday fan there. So Brentford had been on a poor run. If you look, only 4 points in the last 5 before them. Maybe something cooking there. God, if Brentford could go win against Fulham and West Brom, then you never know. But that's a tall order. We'll see if they can do it. Remember, they travel away to Fulham on Friday. Ollie asks, have any of my goldfish ever died? Sadly, if you've ever owned any fish. This is par for the course. Yes, many over the years. Very sad. Speaking of very sad, is Sheffield Wednesday's form at the moment, which is just dreadful. They did have that one win and a draw sandwiched in the middle of it, but they're down to 15th now. And I keep rolling back. I'll have to look at the fixtures. So the game against Bristol City, they got the late penalty. They got the win. I'm sure CLC in there will remind me. I think it was third place. We'll talk about Bart in a minute, Millwall Holdings. But Wednesday off a cliff, and now we've been doing maths every week with Wednesday and Derby, haven't we? Now Sheffield Wednesday are a 9-point deduction away from the relegation zone. They're okay on goal difference. So at the moment, a 9-point deduction has Sheffield Wednesday surviving on goal difference. Remember, the minimum charge, as I understand it, is 9 points, and then aggravated breaches add even more. So Wednesday are in a right pickle, and the EFL are in a right pickle now, because they're possibly going to make a decision that would relegate Sheffield Wednesday, given the way that gap has closed up and the amount of points, especially given the Birmingham deduction last season. Super Leagues on Tour says Monk been awful since leaving. Blues, perhaps, but they did start the season well. Wednesday carried on Steve Bruce's work, but some real edgy quotes from Monk as well. So, not looking at all good for Wednesday. For Brentford, well, they can do something here, but they've got to beat Fulham and they've got to beat West Brom in the next games. CLC says not all on Monk, to be fair, defensive tactics, but mainly the players as well. Yeah, not good for Sheffield Wednesday, down to 15th and 9 points off the relegation zone, which is the exact amount we're expecting, the minimum amount for an FFP deduction. God, it's got some nervous people at the EFL, put it that way. Forest in 5th place. What were they doing on Friday night? Because they got taken to the cleaners in the first half. Oliver asked, we're now going on to Millwall, and they got taken to the cleaners by big Matt Smith with a rarity, a first half hat trick. And for you nerds out there, I've only ever seen one. I saw, if Liam's still in the chat, I saw Alex Maffey score a first half hat trick for Ipswich against Norwich in a local derby in 1998. So in the chat now, if you've ever seen a first half hat trick, Matt Smith gets one. It's a couple of nice goals in there as well. One swept home from a corner, but I know the diving header was in the middle of the goal, but he took it really, really well. And a really surprising result. I had Forest to win this sort of 1-0, but Millwall won't go away. And look at this, they're 2 points off the playoffs. So I kind of, after they played all those difficult teams, I kind of dropped off on Millwall. I'm like, well, okay, you know, it's going to be top 10 at best for them. But they could actually do this. We need to have a look at the fixtures. Again, I'm not aware of the run-in, but we only lost 9 games all season. Rowett's really getting a tune out of them. And you can't say fairer than that. Luke says 3 points between 6th and 11th. By God, there is as well. So even down as far as Swansea. Derby could even join that group if they win another couple of games as well. Incredibly tight as ever with the playoffs. Forest, I don't know what happened. They have these weird games where they come up against a team, like Millwall, who they can't sit back and counter-attack, and we have seen them losing games like that. Kian says, I did call Derby making the playoffs. Luke says said all season. To be fair, Luke has said all season Swansea would sneak in. But look, any of them can do it, because nobody, I repeat, nobody between that 6th and 11th is on a good run. So, well done Millwall, still in there. Proved me wrong. I thought they had dropped off. But Forest, I'm sure they'll be fine over the course of 37 games. They've certainly given me enough evidence that they'll be fine to stay in there. And I do fancy them as a good playoff side. But no more results like that will help. But great win for Millwall. Preston also lurched to a defeat in 6th place, but because no one's challenging, they stayed in the playoff picture. They took the lead. Any first half hat-tricks in there? No one's seen one. And Daniel Johnson scores a penalty. Also, anyone can tell me, I've asked a few times on here, how many penalties have Preston had this season? Because it must be over 10 now. It's ludicrous amount. So I'm not saying they deserve them, but it's just a very high amount. Johnson gives Preston the lead, but second half comeback from Rangers. Grant Hall sticks one in, then Cameron gets red carded. Then Manning and Eze, and QPR are in quite a fine bit of form at the moment. I assume, other than the top two, they're probably not far off the top of the form table. Why don't I just press the button and tell you the answer to that? Yeah, QPR second in the form table, 12 points from 6, with only Leeds above them. Wigan still in there just below them. So QPR looking absolutely fine and dandy at the moment. Preston, we've theorised many times on the channel that they are a bit of a flat track bully, and they're not proving us wrong at all. But they're still in the top 6, because look below them, Bristol City 2 points in the last 5, Millwall 5 points in the last 4, Cardiff 5 points in the last 5, Blackburn 6 points in the last 5. Just no one's scoring points. Max has got QPR badge on there, says unbeaten in the last 6. So yeah, nice little run from Rangers. They'll be looking at the top half, and God, anybody in that middle section of the table. I knew it was coming. He says late push for QPR. Anyone who wants to score 2 points per game is going to be close now, I think. Ridley says Bristol are poor recently. Funny side, I don't think they'll do it. Never write off Lee Johnson though. He's not 1 in 5. Will probably win the next 5 or something, won't he, on one of his weird streaks. Right, we are down to Cardiff. Let me just have a quick sip of my tea. And it was Barnsley 0, Cardiff 2. Not a good result for Barnsley at all. And Cardiff, like Millwall, sticking in there very nicely when I've written them off many times. So both 2 points off the playoffs. Interesting. And Talk Leeds says, would love to see you on All Leeds more. Ask them, and I'm sure they'll invite me on. So yeah, it was 2-0 at Barnsley. Volks and then Patterson. Very funny celebration from Patterson. After Volks did his flip-flop fly, Patterson kind of does a forward roll and a bit of breakdancing, which I found rather amusing in my childish state. But yeah, decent from Cardiff. Again, they've only 9 defeats. So exactly the same record, haven't they, as Millwall? Won 13, drawn 15. Lost 9, so we can level the same things at both draw heavy, but they're in there, aren't they? And this is a hard game for Leeds. We'll talk about it at the back end of the week in the preview, but Leeds go to Cardiff next on the Sunday as well. Difficult. Ollie says, according to FootMob, Daniel Johnson has scored 6 out of his 11 goals from the spot. Paul Gallagher has 4. 10. There you go. Thank you, Ollie, for the info. I bet they've even had one more of that, because I know Johnson and Gallagher have both been out at some points. But yeah, 10 between, and that's not even accounting if they've missed any. So yeah, definitely 10 minimum. Talk Leeds says, what's happening to Ipswich, Ben? I'll direct you to the wonderful Blue Monday podcast, of which I'm a creator. Yeah, and we'll not mention that here, but they're rubbish. Yeah. Moving on, Blackburn slipping off his start. Oh no, I didn't really mention Barnsley enough there. Barnsley 2 straight defeats at the wrong time whatsoever. They're still bottom, and it feels like they go on a little surge and then they just drop back off. Both Luton and Barnsley far away. Someone's asking about Bart again. We thought Bart would come good again. I've spoken at length about it. Paul Hurst completely undermined him and ruined his confidence. Had a horrible season last year. And we knew Millwall were getting a steal if they got someone who's been Ipswich Player of the Year 3 years running. If he got to anywhere near back there, and of course he has. And he's a nice bloke as well, Bart. So everybody is happy for him, and the deal is done, and he's a Lion permanently. And I assume you get another 2-3 years out of him, being keepers play a long while. So good luck to Bart and Millwall. Yeah, Blackburn, Derby Blackburn even was yesterday. Big win for Derby. Sibley didn't know anything about him, and he smashes a rocket in there. 2 for Chris Martin, including the penalty. Buckley with a late red card. If anyone, Blackburn were the only ones in that top half, kind of unbeaten for a while and kind of in form, but they're defeated as well. And Derby 51 now. Again, we have to do FFP watch from them. Let's take 9 off, and they're absolutely fine on 42. So absolutely fine, still 1 point. Take 11 off Derby, and yeah, they're in a bit of a pickle there. But some decent results up. So yeah, be interesting to see what Koku does next season. Year 2's always an interesting time, seeing how management work on that. Leeds sold out a 7,000 allocation at Blackburn. Wow, goodness me. I'm hoping to be at that game actually, so I'll clearly be in the Blackburn stand. But yeah, incredible support. That away end does get filled up from time to time by Newcastle and Preston and Leeds fans. It's any time Blackburn Stadium's full, isn't it? I think I saw somebody did the percentage of empty seats, and Blackburn were struggling on that. Moving on, Blackburn must say in 10th, still 3 off the playoffs. Derby getting closer to that group. Incredible if they actually get in there. Moving on, we've done Derby, we've done QPR. Let's talk Reading, because they had a great win. And I said jokingly, you can give Birmingham a 1-goal head start, because Hogan will definitely score in my preview. You can check that out. That's there for posterity on the internet. And he scored after 6 minutes again. So Hogan, magnificent. But so was Reading's comeback in the second half. Miaskin with a great goal, actually, belying the fact that he's a defender. Great finish there. Maite with the second. Any followers of my Instagram will know I met Mr. Maite in a sort of Vietnamese restaurant in Reading earlier in the season, so name dropped that. And Pele with the third one. Great win for Reading when we thought they were sliding down. Back-to-back wins and 3 wins in the last 5. And I think me, along with a lot of other people, can give Mark Bowen a bit of humble pie here, because it looked a bit murky when he got that job. And he's done really well, to be fair, hasn't he? Because Reading's been a hard club to manage the past few years, so he certainly deserves a go at this for the next couple of years, and we'll see if he can push them up the table. I must look up the stat though. We must be a good few months now without a championship firing. We've got to be due one soon, haven't we? It feels like ages since I've made a firing video. When there we go. Oliver says, if we don't go up, you'd be tempted to go to Millwall West Ham. Yes, I would love to go to Millwall West Ham. That would be absolutely great. Do I think they'll close grounds due to the coronavirus? Possibly. We'll see what Mr. Johnson and the government have got to say about this. But yeah, it's certainly a real threat. That would be the most Leeds thing possible, wouldn't they? Finally get into promotion and the season kind of gets cancelled at the end there. So moving on, we've done Wednesday. We've just done Birmingham, who now don't look like they're in good form, even though they've been unbeaten for ages. 4 draws and a defeat in the last 5. They need to get some wins on there, but there's a nice 5-point buffer, so they're safe, but they need to be pushing out. Mr. E says McCann or Monk next sacking. Well, let's talk about Hull in a minute indeed. Huddersfield, we've spoken about. They lost at Leeds. Borough, great win for Borough. I was at their game. Check out the review elsewhere on the channel. It was Charlton 0, Borough 1, and I was actually surprised by how good Borough were. They played this one really well. I'm not saying they're the second coming of Real Madrid or anything like that, but they kept the ball, played through the thirds, had most of the possession and territory in this one, with a better side, and took the chance that they got well. And if Mr. Tavernier had his decision-making head on or his shooting boots on, they probably could have won by more. So a great win for Borough, and a really really bad day when you look back at the end of the season. If Charlton are to stay in the bottom three, they'll really look back at this day as a real pivotal one, where there was a big swing where Charlton into the bottom three and Borough out, big swap. Look, I know it's 41, 41, 41, 39 on the points, but big psychological one for Borough to have 4 points in the last two and to be pushing on out of there. So well done, and Woodgate really has stuck to this philosophy, hasn't he? They're perilously close, but he will not go long. He will not try and crap house his way out of this. So yeah. And finally, we've missed out Stoke, which means I get to talk about Hull. Hull, oh my God. Stoke 5, Hull 1. Powell, Campbell, Clucas, then Lopez got one back for Hull. And Powell gets his second, so double in there. Hull are just terrible at the moment. And I was sat here, I mean, a few people picked me up on it in the chat actually, and they were right and I was wrong when I was looking. And I think Hull and Reading were sort of roughly on the same amount of points. And I said, oh, don't worry about those two. They'll be okay. And in fact, I can probably do the maths backwards here. Yeah, Reading have got 9 points in their last 5, and Hull have got 1. Reading are 7 points ahead. Yeah, so Reading would have been 1 point behind Hull, and I'm sort of they're okay. Then we had this surge where Barnsley won 3 on the bounce, Luton won 3 and 4, Wigan won 3. Everything closed up, and that's the worst possible thing that could have happened to Hull, that tide rising. I know you only need one of those bottom 3 to start winning to suck everybody down, but that surge coupled with Hull's disastrous run, and they are really, really in it. With 9 to go, I'm actually going to, I know we haven't looked at anyone's fixtures today, I'm just going to have a look and see who Hull have got coming up, see how this reads. Oh my God. Next game, Hull versus Charlton. So that's incredible. So literally with the next 90 minutes, Charlton can actually put Hull into the bottom 3. It is at Hull. What a game that is. And then 2 games later, Hull versus Middlesbrough. So it's in their hands. They've got home games against their rivals. They've also got Luton at home in this running. So that does bode well for Hull, that they've got all of their direct rivals at home. Birmingham away, West Brom away, that's not a fun one, is it? Bristol City away, Millwall at home, and Cardiff away on the last day. Yeah, it's in Hull's hands there, isn't it? If they can just avoid defeats in those games against all of the direct rivals that are all at home, then they're looking all right. But where can you see them getting any points from at the moment? And finally, it's Wigan 0, Luton 0. Could have been a really, really big one for Wigan if they had got the win there. They would be up to 43 and up in 17th. But Wigan, as we've said, are second or third in the form charts. So yeah, it would have been a big one for either team to get the win. Luton just look a little bit far back now. Wigan, they've done great. They still need to finish this job because a couple of defeats and, you know, a result or two for Charlton and Hull, and then you are back right in it again. Right, that's every team, and we've got plenty of people in the feed today, really good numbers. So if anyone wants to do any questions, we'll fire through as many as possible. No midweek games this week, so we actually have a week to kind of collect ourselves, and then 3-game week next week. Thoughts on the Reading Sheffield United game? I'm really sorry I did not see it. Leeds are Charlton at home. They've got on the last day. Bowen cruising. As a Bristol City fan, I think we can get 6th. Anyone can get 6th at the moment. Who am I fancying most in the playoffs? I've got a hankering for Forest, just on the basis I think they would get through to a final. You just worry about Brentford getting crap housed out of it, but if Brentford can get to the final and play 3 games, you'd think that they're certainly going to score 4 or 5 goals across the 3 games, aren't they? So, am I going to any more Leeds games? I am planning to be at Blackburn, so yeah, look out for me at Blackburn. Do I think Leeds will maintain composure and finish first? I think they'll definitely maintain their composure. I don't know whether they'll finish first, but I think they're going to go up. Animation says, what is the main problem at Sheffield Wednesday? I think it's just a bit of a basket case, isn't it? Since Carvajal got all the money and they didn't go up, it's just not been a fun place to be, and Monk's kind of gone nuclear. Oh, sorry, Mr. Mill, I just missed that one. Who's the biggest Championship player flop let down this season? That's a difficult one. I might need some help with that one in the chat. Maybe Knockout. I think everybody expected Knockout to be over 10 goals and over 10 assists, and he's not in the Fulham team at the moment. Who's top player of the Championship this year so far, in your opinion? It's difficult to argue against Mitrovic, isn't it, for all of those goals. Phillips for Leeds, very good. Pereira, very good. Ben Rama, lots and lots of good ones. Any more questions? I'm sorry, a couple of them just disappeared off. We can do a few more minutes if some more questions come up. In the meantime, as always, I'll say follow me at Benjamin Bloom. Some Fulham fans don't want to go up. They did not enjoy last season. There we go. Mitrovic, best striker the Championship has ever seen, says Andrew. Did you never see Kevin Phillips play for Sunderland, Andrew? My God. He may as well give him a goal before he even kicked off. Ayling the past few games has stepped up, says, yeah, he has. And I think I said on the Leeds channel last night that a lot of Leeds players have actually stepped up to get goals when they weren't getting them. Hernandez, Klitsch, Ayling, I don't think Harrison's got a goal yet, Roberts. Can you see West Brom dropping out of the top 2? Well, if West Brom lose their next game and Fulham tighten up, then the next game's away at Brentford. So it's always a possibility, but I think Bilic has recruited well, and we need to give Bilic credit because he's come in there and we've got a few possible one-season wanderers here. It's Bilic's first season in the Championship, Parker's, and Lamouchi's, so we could possibly get a first-timer promoted. Best surprise performance this season, he says Ben White, but I'm not biased. Surprise player? Hogan's surprising me at the moment at Birmingham. He says spilling his tea down his front. I'm not sure on that one. Surprise player. Jed Wallace, out of nowhere, he was played absolutely beautifully through autumn, didn't he? Which team will do best in the Premier League? You can't look past Leeds for that. You'd love to see Brentford get in there. Best individual performance I've seen this season. Oh, crikey. Individual performance. Can I get back? I have to have a think about that one, go through the games. Oh, I can do it. Best individual performance. Would you believe? I can tell you the first 25 minutes of Tom Lawrence in Huddersfield versus Derby. I don't know what got into him. He was incredible, absolutely incredible. So, that quarter of that game, if Tom Lawrence could do that for the season, he'd be worth about 100 million. Bielsa is the best manager the Championship has ever seen. He's going to be up there if he takes Leeds up. I would also say Graham Taylor, when he came back for Watford, was just too good. Rafa Benitez as well for Newcastle. We've had some very high calibre managers, ex-international managers. I mean, Bilic is one of them, I suppose, at the moment. Max says Nuno as well. He just nailed it straight away. But remember, Wolves did lose £1 million a week to get out of this division and then obviously avoid FFP by making 100 million quid in the Premier League. So if your gamble pays off, it pays off. Right, I think we are all there. Newcastle had a right team that season. Yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did. I remember the highest wage ever in the league was sort of 60 million or something. I think it was Newcastle before as well under Houghton. And then Rafa's last team, the wage bill was 113 million or something. Mr. E says Steve Coppell was a very good manager at Championship level. Totally agree with that. That Reading team were absurd, weren't they? 106 points there. So he's definitely in with a shout. Bielsa has taken bang average players. I do agree with that. He's done absolutely brilliant. He's got to get the job done, and then we can talk about it in past terms. What about Gallagher versus Fulham for best individual? I'll only talk about games I was at, so if you saw that, then I'll go with that one. Right, I'm going to say thank you everybody for watching. Brilliant numbers tonight, so thanks everybody for tuning in. I guess we'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, we'll do it Thursday, and then it's going to be a fun weekend. Paul Heckingbottom, best manager. Did I watch Jean Tigana's winning season? Oh, with Boa Morte and Sahar, incredible. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we're back on Thursday, and then I will be at Fulham Brentford on Friday night. I'm doing Ipswich on Saturday, and then I will also be at West Brom versus Brentford. And I'm gutted because I'm working on Wednesday night, so I'll try and get a look at the big Leeds Fulham game. But yeah, we will see how it all pans out. Thank you everybody for watching. Great numbers here. Everyone's been so kind in the chat. Max says Kitson versus Mitrovic. Love it. Dave Kitson, fantastic. He is the secret footballer, isn't he, Dave Kitson? Sorry if anyone didn't know that. That's a spoiler alert. Right, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Keep in touch. See you on Thursday, unless anyone gets fired, an FFP deduction, or the coronavirus closes down all the grounds. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.